it's Natasha and thank you so much for joining me today. Well, today's one is a fun one because this is a technique that you need to know, and this is exactly how to foil any stamp you own. It doesn't matter what it is, you can foil it. So whether it's like an image on the left here, or a background stamp like the middle one, or a bird, or an intricate stamp, we can do them all, and I want to show you the stunning easy results that you can get. Now this involves no laminators, no toner, no nothing like that, no hot foil, no machines, nothing like that. Just an easy peasy ingredient, which means that we can turn any stamp into a foilable stamp. So I'm going to start off here with this gorgeous, this is by Andy Skinner, this set here, and this one is called The Places You Will Go, and it is just a gorgeous stamp. Now I do believe that Creative Expressions are closing, and so their products have definitely been selling out very, very fast. So if you are keen to get some, I would suggest doing so. And at the time of me doing this voiceover, these were still available, but who knows? Anywho, I'm going to pop this in my stamp platform. Now this is just how I find it easiest. You don't actually need the stamp platform. I'm putting down just a piece of regular cardstock. This happens to be the Frencheville brand, which is 110 pound plain white cardstock, and then I'm going to line up my stamp pretty much where I want it to go. Now here's the thing, all you need for this is going to be a tacky glue, like a dries tacky glue. Now there are so many of these on the market, there is not one specific brand that I have found works better than others, but this one here called Smart Glue from scrapbook.com is the one that I use and love. Two things. One, this bottle lasts me forever. This had lasted me such a long time. I've had this one well over, I don't even know, way longer than a year or so. I only use these tacky glues really when I'm foiling things or when I'm doing these stamp projects. There's just a few cases for tacky glues, and this is one of them. Then this is the foil that I'm using at the moment. This is the Tonic regular foil, so not using hot foils, just regular old foils is what we need, and most of us have a few of those in our stash. You can also, cut things out of double-sided tape or use double-sided tape strips, and that's the foil that we would kind of use for this. So here's what I do. You do have to work, I would say, not super slow. You don't have to panic. It's not quick, but you just can't dawdle because obviously we don't want the glue to dry anywhere but on the page. So what I do is I have a little makeup sponge and then I pop some down on a scrap piece of paper, and all you want to do is just sponge the top of your stamp. Now, as I said, this is the part where, again, you don't have to hurry, but you don't need to go super slow either because we don't want the glue to dry on the stamp. I can imagine that although you should be able to peel it off, it wouldn't be great for the stamp, but you can also pop them in some warm water afterwards. So just use your makeup sponge, stamp the front, stamp it down onto your project and lift it back up. Again, I wouldn't have it on your project forever because it's going to dry there, it's going to stick there. So you really want to stamp and lift, but no panic, but just don't leave it there and decide to go and unload the dishwasher or something like that. So then I always use a bit of my spray bottle, which is just cold water, and I spray the stamp down immediately, and this gives the glue a chance to dry because there really is just a pretty thin layer of it on there. And then I'm going to take the gold foil. I just sort of wipe it with the palms of my hands or the sides of my hands. There is no muscle involved, and then peel it off and you have a beautiful foiled stamp with very, very little effort. Now, I thought I got an extra little piece there, but it actually wasn't. It was just fine. And here is our card. So this is directly onto my card base, but I have used some gold foil for this one. Obviously, you can use, there is just every single foil color out there under the sun, so choose whatever you would like. A blue might be really nice, but that is super, super easy and a really, really quick way. Now, I'm going to do several of these for you today. I'm going to use this butterfly here. I don't think I can find this one still available anymore, but there is a couple very similar, and a butterfly is a butterfly. I'm sure you've got one in your stash that you can use. These are, so with the first one, that was a red rubber stamp. Again, that works perfectly. This one here is a photopolymer stamp. Again, it's going to work perfectly. It doesn't matter what your stamp is made of. I just pop down a little bit of glue, dab over it gently. Don't even worry if you get some down, in between the cracks of the stamp design, because when we stamp it down onto our cardstock, I'm not smushing it with all my might. I'm just pressing it down gently and then lifting it off. So that any glue that gets down in between the pieces is not going to stamp onto our project at all. Again, I just wipe it up with a little damp cloth or a paper towel and some water. And I just do it first because what you could do is you could just take your stamp off and pop it into a tray of warm water or something. But, I just get the job done and then move on, and that gives the glue a chance to dry. Now, I had lots of foil left from that previous one that I thought I may as well use up. So I cut out the good bits that I can use, and I may as well use as much as I can. So I will do that. And again, all I do is just pop it down onto the butterfly. I'm going to do a wing each just because these are the pieces that I have, and then a little bit to catch him in the center there, and these stick beautifully. It's not coming off, it's not going to rub off, you can't scratch it off with your nails or anything. Once it's on pretty good with that glue. Give it a press down. I don't even use like a bone folder or anything to go over it, because even if the glue were a tiny bit not dried, I don't want to run the risk of running the bone folder over it and squishing it out, like squishing the glue a little bit so that we distort the pattern and it's not quite as clear, if that makes sense. So that's why I tend to just use, my hands, and they work perfectly. That is the butterfly. Look how beautiful that is. It is absolutely stunning. Then I'm going to do another one just so that you can sort of see all different types. I'm going to do a really pretty delicate image actually. This is the Gina K Love and Hugs, and I believe this might have been an incentive stamp at some point. She has the most gorgeous incentive stamps, and actually I think there's a choice of them most months or some months. If you go on her website and I think you spend $75 and you get that free stamp set, and then eventually maybe the following month or maybe a couple after, you are able to purchase them if you want to, but really cool to get a free stamp, and they are gorgeous. They are beautiful stamps that she has as the incentives. So this was one of those. Anyhow, as I said, it's called Love and Hugs. If you want to check out anything, there's not too many ingredients or too many things that this technique takes, but I do still have them all linked down below, of course. And then if you are interested and you give this technique a go, I would love to see it. And the best place to do that is over on my Facebook group called Come Crafting with Natasha. Make sure you join the group. It's got about 18,000 members or so, and it's just a really fun, nice, supportive, kind environment. We have a really great bunch of people there, so you can either come on over and post, or you can just come on over and have a look at everybody's wonderful creations. And also, if you're wanting to write to me, I have my snail mail address down in the description box below YouTube here. And then I also, if you would like more Natasha content, I have my website, which is natashafootcreative.com. There is a QR code up here in the top left-hand corner if you would like to use that to go straight to my website. I have put so much time and effort into my website, and it also is a place where I can do things that I can't on YouTube. So I can run classes there. I have classes. I also have a couple of year-long series. I completed the entire year and the entire alphabet of card making last year, and this year is the year of geometrics. So I am loving the new series, and it's giving me a bit of creative space as well. There are the PDF sentiments that you can download and print out, or resize them or color them and print them out. Do what you will with them, and that is free sentiment sheets for you. Now, back to this. So I have got my card here. This is the first one. Now, I am keeping these ones pretty plain and simple, and I almost wish I had stopped here, but sometimes we just keep going, and that's okay. I wanted to ground these images just a little bit, so I'm taking some hickory smoke ink and a little bit of mint tape. This is the 1/4 inch mint tape, and I'm going to just add a little bit underneath. Now, I probably could have stopped at the first one, but I decided to keep going and add a little bit more color under there. And sometimes it can be really hard to tell how much color that you have when you have got a mask there in comparison to the white, but anyhow, there's a pretty good amount. I could have gone slightly lighter, but I still love those gorgeous golden flowers. Then I'm going to do the most simple of borders. This time I am using a ruler, and then I'll just do a little, twitsy twirl in the corners, and that will finish off this one. I think maybe some cool frame stamps would be really fun, but I haven't really seen any. that you can sort of like mix and match or something. I don't know. I think that would be a fun idea because I end up drawing most of my frames. But anyhow, a nice little simple easy card here. These are all directly onto card bases, all 3 of these beautiful stamps. So that is number 1. I'm keeping that super simple. Then with the butterfly, I'm just going to take some Distress Oxide inks and add in a little bit of colour. You could add, because obviously anything we're going to add over top is pretty much going to be resisted by the foil. It's not going to sink in. So even if you did watercolours, if you do Distress Oxides, anything that you do, just remember to give it a light wipe over gently and sort of in the right direction, if you know what I mean, to get any of the ink or colour that is sitting on top of that foil, because you really want the foil to shine. So I hadn't done it at this point. I just need to run a little cloth over top and make sure that I get rid of all of that ink that's sitting on top of the foil. So I just use some sort of oranges and yellows, I guess. And then just because I like control, I like to do a little bit of controlled splatter, I call it. So I just use a little ball pen and I'm going to do some little dots around. I can dip this in my ink pad and then, get quite a few dots out of it, which is handy, and that's just a little bit of extra so-and-so. I think either you could do some splatter, you could do some really, really small Nuvo drops or something like that. I think all of that would look, just a little bit of something dainty. And then I'm going to be popping around my little sort of wobbly border and then the little doof-a-dads at the ends, but just little easy, simple touches. And then for this one, for the sentiment, I have these Katie Sue Designs Thinking of You banners, and there are so many in here. I feel like I'm never going to use all of these up, but there are 2 sheets of gold and 2 sheets of silver in here, and they have lots of different sentiments on them, and so I decided that I would just pop one of those on because the golds happen to match really, really nicely, just by accident, because they're not from the same company or anything, but they match really nicely. And so this says Thinking of You up the top in a gorgeous little scripty writing style. So that is card number 2. And then card number 3 I've got with the gorgeous little, I don't know if it's a boy or a girl holding a little balloon there. This is Andy Skinner's artwork, and these are just stunning. I have a few videos of using these stamps on my channel just because I really love them. It hasn't previously necessarily been my style, but I absolutely love them. And the sentiment that goes with this one, the stamp set is called The Places You Will Go, and the sentiment says, "Oh, the places you will go," which is just so sweet. So that definitely, when I saw the sentiment as well, that sold it to me and I purchased them. I'm going to use a little bit of purple ink just to go up on the balloon. I'm just giving him some really, really light colouring. And then again, you need to make sure you rub it off so that you get that gorgeous shine from the foil. And then I don't want to do too much. I don't want colour to overtake the image, but I did decide just to add in a tiny little bit of brown into the ground there, or the soil, or whatever it may be that they are standing on, and popping that underneath. So just a tiny little bit of colour to fill this in, but as I said, not overwhelming what is a very delicate and gorgeous image. And then, as I said, because I love the sentiment so much, that was an easy choice, so I will stamp that one down the bottom. And I also love that with his stamps, he somehow makes them, because they're red rubber and you obviously can't see through them, he makes it really obvious as to how to make them straight. Like, for example, with the image above, the ground is perfectly even and it's cut nice and straight, so you can know that you've lined them up really nicely without having to practice first, I guess. Same with the sentiments. Everything is really easy to line up. So I appreciate that when it comes to red rubber, and it does stamp beautifully. But this says, "Oh, the places you will go." And then, as I said, not wanting to overwhelm the image, but I did want to add just something in the background. I could have just added maybe a little bit of watercolor, but remember that this is not, I've just stamped onto regular cardstock. So I didn't really want to include too much water in case it buckled at this point. So I'm just using the leftover blue on a brush, a blending brush, and making sure that I masked off the border so that hopefully it leaves a nice, little border around it as well. But these cards, all 3, are super, super simple, and yet some of my favorites that I have created this month. Just really, really gorgeous cards. And I don't even think they need sort of any bling or any, extra little bits and pieces. But this is really cool that you can foil any stamp in your stash. So I hope that you have enjoyed this video. Let me know if you've tried this technique in the comment section down below. And other than that, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for supporting me, and I will see you next time. Thanks, bye.